I'm Michelle, a 48-year-old housewife. I've been with my husband Stephen since college, and we got married 3 years after we both started working. We had our first daughter, Linda, right away, and then 2 years later, our son, Matthew. There were tough times, like when I was distressed by my daughter's friendship problems, or was consumed with nursing my son, who is prone to illness. But now those are all good memories. Our children have grown up and are now enjoying their college life living alone. Our marriage has lasted for over 20 years. My husband is bossy, but has always been diligent in his work. But he left all the housework and child-rearing to me. But since my friends often grumble about similar things, I've never given much thought about it. This is just how husbands are. Our passion burned out long ago, but we have a sense of companionship as a couple who've been together for many years. Both the physical affection and the conversations have decreased. But I guess that's what happens with any long-term couple. I don't have any major complaints, but there's no excitement either. I do the housework, work part-time, and take care of my husband. I guess this routine will continue until one of us passes away. I thought my husband wanted that too, but it turns out he was betraying me. One weekend, my husband brought a young woman home. She introduced herself as Stephanie and seems to be his subordinate. Apparently she's 26, about the same age as our daughter. As he embraced her, my husband said something shocking. "I'm marrying her. I want a divorce." Excuse me? It was like a bolt out of the blue. "Matthew has turned 20, so our role as parents is done. I want to spend the rest of my life with a person I truly love." Hold on a minute. I can't digest all of this. The woman, my husband's subordinate, sneered at my confusion. Dar marrying me? So we want you to leave? Dar? What does that mean? I don't understand. Wait. She means darling. While I was reeling, the two of them began to emphatically talk about their love and why they should be together. "It's wonderful to love someone," they said. I might have agreed if it were someone else's story. "She's my junior at work, and she's been healing my tired body and soul from work and home life." My husband said this without any hesitation. "And he always helps me with my mistakes, treats me to delicious meals. Look, he even bought me this bag. Has he ever bought you something like this?" The woman flaunted a bag that even I, not keen on brands, recognized as being from a high-end store. Of course, I've never been given such a gift. In fact, he hasn't even celebrated my birthday for the past few years. "You're clearly just in it for the money." In a fit of laughter, I deny their so-called pure love. Men find wealth charming too, don't they? The reason why you old hags get dumped is because you don't understand that. I understand that. I've always known that. I'm not planning on lying and saying I don't need money. I appreciate my husband who works hard every day too. "That's enough." My husband sighed, seemingly irritated. "If I'm going to spend the same money, I'd rather spend it on a young cute girl who knows how to please a man. You're past sell-by date." "That's not. Your time is up. We want you to leave." The young woman clung onto my husband and looked down on me. My world came crashing down, and all I could do was stare back at them with despair. I could not utter a word. The following week was hell. My husband started going to this woman's house with no reservations, and he barely spent time at home anymore. On the other hand, the woman kept barging into our house every day, berating me. "Are you still here? Hurry up and get a divorce. How pathetic to cling onto a man who doesn't love you. You're so embarrassing, old lady." Why do I have to put up with this woman's verbal abuse? What did I do to deserve this? Is being an older woman a crime? I was angry, but I had planned to spend my life with my husband till the end, so it took time to accept the reality. Besides, I was paralyzed at the thought of the impact this could have on my children's future, as they would end up with a single parent. It was my children who finally gave me the push I needed. "Mom, why didn't you talk to us about this before?" My daughter and son, who were living on their own, came home for the weekend. Even though I hadn't told them anything, they seemed to know the situation. "Linda, Matthew, why?" "Dad reached out to us. He said, your mom is jealous of a younger woman and is reluctant to get a divorce. Matthew, you understand how I feel, don't you?" My son said, looking disgusted as he spat out my husband's selfish argument. "That's terrible. dragging my son into this. Ew, that's so gross. The mistress is 26, right? She's about my age. That totally sucks. My daughter made a face, seemingly utterly disgusted, and then she forcefully slapped my shoulder. Mom, you should just get a divorce. But what if it affects your job prospects or future marriages? If someone's going to judge me based on that, I wouldn't want them in my life anyway, my daughter said, sticking out her tongue and making a goofy face. In an unusual serious tone, my son looked into my eyes. Hey, Mom, have you ever considered thinking about yourself more than us? If you divorced Dad, would there be any issues? Any issues? With the house, I would only have to take care of myself. For money, if I can get him to pay for the kids' college tuition, I can survive on my part-time job and the rent income from the apartment I inherited from my father. If I don't have to take care of my husband, I can work more hours. Without him, I can even start learning, right? I won't be scolded for going to lunch with my friends on weekends, cheering for an idol on TV without being told it's embarrassing to fawn over young men would be nice. In the first place, he's the only one who's infatuated with a younger woman. If I divorce him, I'll be free of all these annoyances, right? Isn't that the best? I won't have any problems even if I get a divorce, I declared out loud. The moment I said that, I felt as if everything in front of me had suddenly become brighter. Exactly. In fact, the one who's going to have issues marrying a selfish man like Dad is his mistress, right? Yes, exactly. My daughter strongly agreed. Mom, we appreciate how much you care about us, but I'd rather see you happy. I can get through anything if you're healthy. My son and daughter are my strong support group. You're only 48. That's not even halfway through your life. It's a waste to dedicate the rest of it to that crappy father. We'll try our best to become independent. You should live your life for yourself, Mom. Linda, Matthew, I couldn't hold back my tears. Thank you. I'm so lucky to have you both as my children. That's because you raised us with so much love, Mom. Despite feeling exhausted from being betrayed by the husband I trusted, my children's words brought comfort to my heart. I haven't wasted my life. I haven't until now, and I won't in the future. I won't hesitate anymore. I will live the rest of my life for myself. Once I completely got over my feelings for my husband, I acted swiftly to divorce while their affair is still going on. There's a risk that their relationship could end before our divorce is finalized, which could complicate the divorce proceedings. I hired a lawyer who specializes in divorce cases and prepared to move out. Once everything was ready, I informed my husband of my intention to divorce and arranged a meeting. We settled all matters, such as the kids' college expenses, asset division, and alimony, within reasonable bounds. Honestly, I wanted to leave him penniless, but making the divorce process smooth was the top priority. Besides, it was clear to see that the cheating pair was on a path to disaster. Doing anything unnecessary could prolong the divorce process, and I didn't want to poke the hornet's nest. My ex-husband paid me a lump sum, as if he was disposing of an expired woman, like one would pay for a garbage disposal. The mistress was reluctant at first, as his fortune dwindled, but for some reason that I can't fathom, she seemed to reconsider him as a generous spender. I nearly burst out laughing at their farcical display, but I held it in. Just a little more patience. A man who knows nothing but pride, and a woman who's after nothing but money, they have no idea how much they're going to struggle from here. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. over there. Our last joint effort as a couple was submitting our divorce papers to the city hall. Behind us in the line at the counter was that mistress. As if to rub it in our faces, after we completed our divorce filing, she boldly asked for a marriage license at the counter. The City Hall employee looked astonished, comparing us three, then hesitantly handed over the papers to the woman. There she was, hugging the papers as if she'd won a trophy. I felt like it was none of my business, but I needed to confirm with the woman. Are you sure you're okay with that guy? What? Sour grapes? You're the one who wanted a divorce. Hurry up and get it done, lady. All right. If this young girl with a future is being deceived by this old man, it's truly a pity. But it looks like I can pass on the joker without any qualms. Leaving the two behind, who had begun to fill out the marriage registration form in a cuddle, I left the city hall. The sky was clear and blue. I wonder if those two are also looking at the same scenery. And so I started a new chapter in my life. After the divorce, I moved into one of the apartments that I owned. Of course, there's no rent. It's in my hometown, so there are plenty of my old classmates around, and I'm never short of people to talk to. It's also convenient for transportation, so my daughter and son come to visit on weekends. I couldn't thank my parents enough for leaving me such a place. The only worry was quitting my part-time job where I had worked for many years. But I was lucky that it was a chain store. The manager pulled some strings and got me hired at a store near my new place under the same conditions. It was all worth it for having worked so diligently for so long. The only time I felt a little lonely was the first month, when I cooked too much food. Now I'm enjoying the joy of living alone and cooking just for myself every day. About half a year into these days, I got a call from an unknown number. I inadvertently answered it, and a woman shrieking in a piercing voice without even introducing herself. "Hey, lady! Everyone at the company and my fiancé's relatives are all saying they want to attend our wedding. It's your fault, isn't it?" That's an irritating way of speaking. Unforgettable. My ex-husband's mistress. Blaming others for the seeds she herself has sown. It's just too much. Cut the accusations. All I did was relay the fact that my husband is divorcing me to be with a young, cute colleague at work. That's what you were saying, wasn't it? And I only spoke the truth and did farewell to the people who had been good to me. But it's really strange that everyone didn't show up. My ex-husband's family and coworkers are all serious people. They don't accept dishonest people like the both of you. We were just here seeking true love. Oh, really? How about explaining to everyone what true love is, then? I suppose it's because the people around my husband are quite sensible, and they have such a strong rejection of the two adulterers. But I was happy to know that the good marital relationship I had built over the past 20 years was affirmed. That woman made a lot of noise, but in the end, the wedding was postponed. It wasn't the cold reason from the people around her that influenced it, but the fact that she was pregnant. When the child was born, she went out of her way to contact me, demanding that my children and I send a baby gift. My ex-husband, on the other hand, seemed to have said something silly to the kids like, "Be nice to your new sibling." Of course, there was no way we could accept that, but my daughters made complex faces at the news of their half-brother, who is more than 20 years younger. I felt bad, too, but it's not the child's fault for being born. So I took her call with an adult attitude, but she just kept complaining that no gifts for the baby from Dar's relatives. Why don't you realize that people are keeping their distance? There's no way that's true. If they see me, they should know that the new wife is lovely. We need to make our debut at a wedding ceremony. Wait, you still want to have a wedding? How incorrigible. Of course. I made a promise with him. I'm going to wear a white dress at the wedding, and we'll go to Hawaii for our honeymoon. We'll take photos in the wedding dress with a blue sea in the background. You're jealous, right? What a cheerful woman. That's a lovely dream. But do you know how much it will cost? It costs about $200 million to raise a child. Huh? She seemed a bit flustered, but she boasted. But it's okay, because he earns a lot. He may be earning now, but your husband will retire when your child is still in middle school. After that, even if he's rehired, his income will drop significantly, and his pension is still far off. Oh, I wonder if she felt something there. Even though his salary might be higher than your friend's husband's, if you consider his age, he's just average. In fact, he's already earned most of his lifetime income. She seemed stunned over the phone. She really made a child without thinking, just as I thought. But it's too foolish to be astounded. He'll be hitting 60 in just over 10 years. His blood pressure is high too, which is a concern for his health. What? Oh, you didn't know that? Have you been properly looking at his medical examination results? He should have had issues every year. She seems to be at a loss for words. My ex-husband hates hospitals, so I had a hard time getting him to go for re-examinations without his nagging ex-wife. He's probably ignoring his health checks and eating and drinking as he pleases. I further hammered the reality home to her, who had fallen silent. Do you think he'll be able to work healthily until retirement? But don't worry, you're young. You can still work for over 30 years. By the way, are you on maternity leave right now? Well, I asked her sarcastically, knowing she wouldn't be able to return to her job after her maternity leave. The news of their infidelity and illicit marriage had reached the higher-ups in their company. They both faced disciplinary actions for violating compliance policies, extinguishing any chance she had to resume her job after maternity leave. A friend who was my ex-husband's colleague had duly reported this to me. She might have had a chance of redemption if she had realized the harsh scrutiny she was under when nobody wanted to attend their wedding. But it seemed she had finally understood the gravity of her situation. Good luck. He can't do any household chores or take care of the baby. But if your love is real, you can overcome anything. I really admire you. I have a lunch date with my friends. Enjoy your child-rearing, housework, and taking care of your husband. I cut her off without listening to her response. She was probably shocked by the dismal reality of her age gap marriage and the infidelity that she blindly rushed into. I'd love to see the look on her face up close and laugh, saying, "That's what you deserve." But I'll pass on that. Spending time with my beloved friends is more worthwhile than belittling a hated adversary. Fast forward a year. "Hey, you're Michelle, right?" As I was leaving my apartment, a man called out to me. It was my ex-husband. This was the first time I had seen him since our divorce. He seems to have tried to reach out to our kids in various ways, asking them to love your newborn brother and let's get along as a family. Though I never disclosed my post-divorce residence, he knew I inherited my parents' apartment and probably deduced that I lived there. "Long time no see." My ex-husband smirked, raising the corners of his mouth. I tried to recall if he had always had such a creepy smile. In the first place, I hadn't even seen his smile in recent years. I thought various emotions would well up upon seeing his face, but surprisingly, I handled it calmly. "What do you want?" "Old, aren't you? We were together for 20 years. It was you who wrecked the relationship." Ignoring my sour expression, my ex-husband started rattling off complaints about his new married life. In short, his new wife is nagging him to stop wasting money, take care of the baby, wash the dishes, and do the laundry. He should also start saving money because he's almost retiring. He should play with his kid because he's a father. He should be changing diapers and caring for their son more. My ex-husband gripes as if she's saying something unreasonable, but her claims are generally accepted as a norm in society. She's finally realized this unhealthy, lazy man who doesn't help with housework or child-rearing will be nothing but a burden when he retires. And in this age when it's normal for fathers to help with housework and child-rearing, she must be shocked to see her friends' husbands actively doing housework. The problem is the man in front of her, who even after 2 years can't seem to understand his position. "When you get married, women change. It's scary. But you never said things like do the housework or help with the kids, did you?" "That's right. Times were different then, and I too thought that was the norm." "That's why I realized the only one who really loved me was you." "Excuse me?" Taken aback by my ex-husband's absurd statement, I blinked in surprise. I wonder what kind of misconception this foolish face has. He scratches his nose with an embarrassed grin and starts to speak. "It must be lonely being single at your age. You're even more beautiful than you were when we were married. I thought maybe you were waiting for me to come back. Sure, you're a little old, but you were the best because you always went along with me without it complaining. I'm willing to forget it, so you should be honest too." "Excuse me?" "You still love me, don't you?" "What the hell are you talking about?" I let out a strange scream and nearly fell over.
"What?"
My ex-husband jerked at my shriek and froze. I thought that my resentment and anger towards my ex-husband had softened due to the enjoyable days after the divorce, but the anger welled up again at his outrageous attitude. "What kind of nonsense are you talking about in broad daylight? What exactly would I gain by getting back together with a man like you who has no redeeming qualities?"
"Huh? What?"
My ex-husband stammers. "If I've become more beautiful, it's probably because I'm stress-free now that I'm separated from you."
That's,
I'm grateful to your mistress. Thanks to her, I was able to divorce you, and I'm having a great time. I'm really glad I didn't have to live a life changing your diapers."
No way.
My ex-husband's face turns pale at my firm rebellion, probably seeing it for the first time. That's right. Even when he declared divorce, I didn't tell him my true feelings. And even after we were separated, I just went with everything without complaining. "Could you move aside? I'm going on a date now."
A date?"
My ex-husband's voice squeaks like something out of a comic book. "You?
An old lady like you?
That's right.
You're definitely being tricked. Wake up.
That's fine. If I'm spending money, I'd rather it be on a young and handsome guy. You're past your expiration date.
What?
I'm just returning the words you once said to me.
Ugh.
And if I had one more thing, you're just a large piece of trash that can be recycled. He opens and closes his mouth like a fish, but it seems like he can't find any more words to say. Well, I have someone waiting for me. Let's both forget about each other and find happiness. Goodbye.
Michelle.
He calls my name in a pleading tone, but I don't even bother to turn around. I quickly walk away. At this rate, it won't be long before he's a 2-time divorcee. Someone once said that becoming happy is the best form of revenge, and I really believed that. After all, it seems like my brisk departure left him in complete shock. Mom, when I reach the meeting place, my daughter is waving her hand and approaching me. She's my date for today. Sorry I'm late. Your dad showed up.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I finally got to say everything I wanted to say, and I feel so refreshed. But right now, it's all about the concert. I worked my part-time job really hard for this day. Hey, Mom, shall we go? Yes? Today is the concert of a male singer I've always loved, and it's my second time attending. I've even become capable of securing tickets without my daughter's help. I've picked up other hobbies, but following this singer is my top pleasure right now. I attend his musicals with friends. I play his new songs over and over in my car. Even my son sends me updates about his performances on TV shows. It's not just the freedom to chase after what I love that makes me happy, but the fact that everyone is supporting my passion. I might be laughed at for being an old woman fan, but it's fine. I'm not bothering anyone. After all, this is my life. I had completely forgotten how fun it can be to live for myself. Cooking for my family, planning outings for the kids, maintaining a comfortable home for my husband, those things brought their own satisfaction. I found my value in those things, and the thought of losing all my past and my worth with divorce was terrifying. But it wasn't like that at all. My children cherish me. The relationships and the work that I've built up over the years are still very much alive. Rather than clinging to the past, it's much more enjoyable to give it your all and start a new life. Stepping into the unknown requires courage, but once you get started, there are many exciting new encounters. I'm going to enjoy living my life to the fullest.